And I believe it's rolling.
You're, you're
At
live.
least I got the red dot, which I feel like is the symbol for it's rolling.
Yeah, red dots on my end too.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Well, I'm gonna do a little unique show today of talking about sports, pretty much only. Major emphasis on basketball. Got Armani with me because seasoned vet in the pod, so frequent flyer club. I'll give a cheers through the screen to you for coming on here. Appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Your last podcast with Madison was pretty fun. I didn't. She's a very. I texted her this privately. She's a very good comms by man.
Yeah.
I listened to that podcast on the way back up from Tennessee this past weekend. She was like, "Dang, she's pretty. She knows what she's talking about when it comes to TikTok. I'll give
Hmm.
her that. She's really good.
She's got game.
No kidding.
And so we're gonna talk about game today.
Yeah.
um, I think we're gonna kick it off with basketball. Got to give a quick round of applause for the Knicks. Kudos to them. I was not cheering for them, but it's not here nor there. Won regardless. But interesting season. You want to kind of just talk quickly through the finals, kind of playoff runs for each West and East, and then we can dive in a little bit more onto the
Do
final
that.
takeaways.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Um, I thought the East was way more. It was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Um, Cavs obvious letdown in play. You get taken to a game seven by it was the Magic, right?
Magic.
Or I believe it was the Magic, but on a series, no, it was the Pistons.
It was it might
Yeah,
have been the Pistons, but the Pistons should have. If we're being honest, I think the Pistons probably should have cleaned that up earlier.
yeah.
Cavs are fine, but I think the Pistons probably have. Pistons have a plethora of talent on that roster. So
Hmm. I just thought the Cavs was like an older kind of superstar team when you have Harden and Donovan Mitchell, who are getting up closer to 30s. Harden's, I think, past 30.
Harden's up there.
Um,
Man, he's old.
yeah, I just thought you had the veteran and the talent to finally combine for both of them to go
Yeah,
over the hump. And so I was pretty let down by them when they just ran into a buzzsaw um, from the Knicks.
yeah. Like here's the thing with the Knicks, they killed Cleveland. They killed the 76ers, who were supposed to be a pretty solid team. But even before the playoffs, you're sitting here thinking you're like, okay, it's going to be the Celtics because the Celtics got Tatum back, but it ends up being the Knicks. Who we thought the Knicks would probably make the Eastern Conference Finals,
Mm-hmm.
but to be 13-0 going into the NBA Finals, nobody ever saw that coming. Especially with the way their team meshed together at the right place at the right time. But they came out the kings of basketball. And they were the better. They were. At times the Spurs. We can get that. I guess here in a second. But there at times the Spurs were the best team on the floor. But the Knicks is what's experience and the cohesiveness brought them together in those clutch moments, which the Spurs didn't have really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if we go back to the conversation before, the West was pretty. It was OKC and the Spurs. Everybody else thought it would be.
Yeah.
OKC had them at 7. If they'd had J-Dub, if we're being honest here, if they had J-Dub in that game 7, they probably win that. Or if he's
Yeah.
healthy, right? And you get a Thunder Knicks finals, and the Knicks and the Thunder probably win that because they were the. Let's be honest, the Thunder were probably the best team in basketball still. Um,
Mm-hmm. Well, you
but
also would probably get Chet coming out of the woodworks finally.
yeah,
He just played an awful series. He just disappeared for 7 games.
he's had a beef with Wemby since before the NBA.
Yeah.
And the guy just shut off in Game 7. And I don't know if it's pressure. It's probably a lot of pressure since he was the second man in that lineup
Mm-hmm.
with no Jada. But SGA played great hoops at that Game 7. Did really let off the gas on the flopping type issues that he's had previously.
I think that's the biggest thing. You saw him in Game 7 rise up and just hit shots, and then he didn't really flop. Like there wasn't
Yeah.
a ton of it. Like I mean, he got guys with shot fakes, but that's part of it. It wasn't like him just like flailing onto the floor.
Yeah, which is what he
um,
would do in the first couple games of the series, and he takes it. He stops doing that at Game 6, Game 7 when everybody calls it out and plays a flawless game. And you know, he was a big. He was. I mean, obviously he's the MVP of the league, but he was a big part of getting that game closer than what it should be.
mhm.
Um, but especially how many shooters San Antonio had. But I mean, OKC will be back there. San Antonio will be. All these teams, the last four, will all be back there. I don't know about Cleveland. Um, I don't know about Cleveland going up
Yeah,
because Harden's getting older. Donovan Mitchell is getting a little bit older too. Jared Allen, you know, all those guys. But I mean, it was from the NBA perspective, it was the finals you probably wanted. Uh, it was a young blood San Antonio team versus the big market New York Knicks team.
hmm
And you know, I guess the rightful champion won. You get a team that ended the drought with one of the largest fan bases in the country or in sports. So good
yeah.
for.
I would say it's probably good for the league overall. I mean, Knicks have been on the struggle bus for quite some time,
Yeah,
53 years or so, but who's counting? Um, so it was good for them to get one. I think it was another big part of it is last year them saying the head coach was the problem,
yeah.
and then them firing him and going and winning this year. I think that's a very big statement um, from a player perspective because if you don't go out there and win it, you kind of look pretty bad. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
It's the same thing with like the Doc Rivers thing and it was Thibodeau, but
mhm.
sorry, but you get these coaches that are like from the early 2010s and have their success way back then. They try to coach now. It's a different basketball game than it was. And you know, Thibodeau was known to be a defensive guru. The Knicks
Mhm.
got killed last year with defense. Fire him. Bring in Mike Brown, who is defensive coach as well too, pretty good defensive coach. And the Knicks play shutout defense this entire playoffs compared to last year when they were getting killed by Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. So I mean, it's just it's also a testament of what a coach can do in the league and
Mhm.
how detrimental. I mean, same thing with the Cavs back then. They had David Blatt or whatever. Fire him, get Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue just happens to be the right man for the right job.
Yeah.
Uh, no, it just really comes down to coaching in the NBA, and you know, especially the Knicks too, having that core of the Nova boys, having a guy Carl Anthony Towns who's been in the league for 10 years now, and then Josh Hart as well, and having guys like Alvarado, Jordan Clarkson, some key pieces on the bench to keep you in the games or get some heat check points or heat
Yeah, that's
scores.
what I saw one like post going around and it showed like the average or the age of the players compared to like who they were guarding. It was
Yeah,
probably a good like 5 year gap on like almost all of the uh Spurs like starting five to the Knicks starting five. Which I think is a massive piece of this. Because experience definitely showed of I mean, you lead I don't know, probably what, 97% of the whole series, and somehow you lose 4-1, you know?
yeah.
I mean,
They
it,
were like I said earlier. The Spurs were you coming. I'm coming into the finals right now. I think I was texting you this. I'm like Spurs have probably the better talent here. Like
mhm.
from Dylan Harper to Castle to Wimby, and so on and so forth. Like you look at that team, you're like that's a pretty. I mean, they're young, but they're pretty dang good, man. And my initial prediction was Spurs in six. I thought they would. I thought they would get to the. I thought they would. I thought they would win a couple games at home. The game I thought they would win the first one of the first two games at home and go to New York and take two of those games there. But I mean that wasn't the case. I mean they had a crucial. They have. I mean the Knicks got them in game one. Game two, Wemby had a horrible turnover at the end of the game there. Um, and then game three they pulled off. Game four, I mean blowing a lead like that. I mean come on, it was just incredible to watch. And I'm sitting here with one of my Zach Walker, who was my freshman year roommate. We had to watch the game together for Game 4, and you know at halftime we're sitting there like, okay, well if the Knicks somehow get back in this game, it's gonna be Brunson, and Brunson did come out, man. Brunson came out, they got hot. Once they got the lead down to 10-15, I was like, okay, I think the Knicks might have. I think the Knicks have a pretty good chance here. Because
Hmm.
I think San Antonio will crumble in the clutch, and they did. San Antonio crumbled in the clutch consistently. Um, it's incredible, man. It would be a different series if San Antonio could figure out how to be a cohesive unit in the clutch, and rather than the Knicks. And it's here we are 4-1 series, gentleman sweep.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough to watch. A lot of it is where I think the Spurs really could have used like a veteran point guard or a veteran player on the floor at all times. Because I think De'Aaron Fox is extremely talented, but he doesn't bring a like calmness or like floor
Yeah.
IQ that other players have. I think he would be a great like Ginobili type player of come off the bench and really electrocute like the
That's
kind of backup lineup.
That's what I
But
thought the Spurs would do, especially like in Game 4, going into that game or Game 5. I thought they would have Fox come off the bench,
mhm.
and they did. They kept playing Fox instead of forget it was either I think it was I think it was Castle, right? Castle's a 19-year-old.
It was Castle or
Is Harper or
it,
Castle?
I think it might have been Harper.
It
That
might have
would
been.
have been
I think it is.
yeah.
It's Dylan. I think it is Dylan Harper. But they kept playing Fox instead of Harper, and
Hmm.
Harper was great in this series, and especially in the clutch. And then they would take him out for Fox. But I mean, here's the thing: like way back in the day, you had those like super teams, right? But it takes a guy like Rajon Rondo, who is a true point guard, and at the same time, or a little more modern. It's Chris Paul. You're like, okay, well, he's not going to be the best player on the floor, but he's going to be a veteran leader to where like okay if it's hitting the fan right here and they're at a 5 point lead or 5 point if they're up by 5 and the team's on a heater, he's their guy to calm it down. And Fox didn't have that in Game 4.
No.
Fox was all over the place, especially with the crucial turnover getting blocked by OG, which should have never happened. You got to dribble the ball out there. You're a veteran point guard. You've been how many games in your life? You got to dribble the ball out. You should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I,
that was
I
stuff like
mean,
that. It's just crazy.
yeah. There's a lot of moments like that. That block was the top. I mean, OG got there. I think if you're Fox though, and you really want to lay that up, you either have to go to try to get a fake and get him in the air and draw a foul, or you have to go up and literally, I mean, just dunk it. I mean, you have to go up and finish through everything, but doing just kind of a
So I didn't.
soft layup, I didn't see the point of that because dribbling it out is obviously one first option by far.
That's just fundamental basketball too. It really is fundamental basketball, and at the same time, it's like the Spurs had a player called the Big Fundamental, and then the fundamentals were lost. Uh,
Hmm.
in the biggest moments of the biggest moments of the game. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's you can blame Fox there too. It's coaching. The coaching was inexperienced. Wemby should have missed those 2 free throws in the clutch as well. Those last in the last like 3 minutes of the game, that killed the Spurs momentum to or killed any momentum they could have ever had.
hmm,
Harper had some. I think it was either Harper or Castle. They interchange in my head right now, but I mean, one of them hit those 2 clutch free throws, but if at the same time you're Wembanyama, you got to hit those free throws.
you got to
Uh,
make those. You're the star
you got to
player.
make those. You're the star player. You're the guy we're putting up as like the next face of the league, and you missed 2 free throws in the biggest moments of that entire game. In a game you're up by what over 28 points.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It, I think it was short sighted of the Spurs organization to kind of get rid of CP3. Um, I know he's not the most outstanding player, but I just don't think you're looking for. You don't need like another scorer or person when you're thinking about making a finals run. Because you have a young coach who's probably going to make mistakes, as a young coach should.
Yeah,
Um, no offense to him, but I mean, I think he is also part of this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I don't know what the organization exactly was kind of thinking of just sending out a bunch of like 20-year-olds
Yeah.
basically go play the biggest game.
Well, it's CP3. It's one of those things that he's gotten a little bit older. And I think they gave him up to get Fox. and then gave Fox a massive contract, a $200 million contract, which, I mean, we'll talk about later in the pod, but I mean, it's one of those deals that you cannot, because as much as talk as you go, oh, we could trade Fox here, and there. It's a really hard contract to give up considering the money, and there's got to be a
Mm-hmm.
team that is just has a plethora of cap space, which who knows who that is,
Yeah.
and who's going to take a financial burden like that they're in a rebuilding year or something. But they're stuck with Fox. And then you can play hindsight 2020 with all these things. Chris Paul is just not the same player he was, but it's at the same time, it is having a guy like that in your roster who can keep your young team calm in clutch moments,
Mm-hmm.
and also be like a second coach on the floor. It's the same thing like in comparison as like Peyton Manning in 2015, right? Like everybody knew Manning wasn't where he was at like 2 years before, but it's having a mind like that on the field to lead an offense, to lead the team in big moments.
Yeah, I mean, it's having a true master of IQ out there.
Yeah,
Um, I think you don't have Chris Paul as a starting point guard, but having a guy that come in and play 12 minutes and, 6 of those minutes are the fourth quarter, they could have used that big time.
yeah,
That's where it would have been nice to have him. But overall, it was just more of a Spurs total collapse. And I think part of that is you win an emotional game 7 against the Thunder,
yeah.
and you just beat the best team in the league. I don't think they were ready to play game 1. Um, and I don't blame them. That's a really short turnaround compared to the Knicks, who had like 11 days off or something.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to find that switch to know that, like, you don't want to get punched in the mouth, especially on your home court.
Yep.
That's a tough one to drop. And it, especially in the fashion that they lost every game, you know, that's just hard to keep the morale up in the locker room. I mean,
Yeah, it's they. I think the way they saw Game 7 as, if this is just from my perspective, they saw Game 7 as them winning the finals, beating the defending champions on their home floor in a rowdy crowd like OKC, what has one of the best crowds in the entire league. And then they showed up flat in Game 1. Even though they kept it close, they showed up flat in Game 1. Um, and it came up to Game 2 and lost another heartbreaker where, again, like we said earlier, it was a Wemby costly turnover, which he shouldn't have done. You're a star player, man. Like you should be turning. You should not be given the ball in those moments.
yeah, that's I don't know. To me, it's almost the Wimby. I saw this would have been better if they lost in Game 7. For Wimby's future, and I don't know because now you definitely have that 0-1 mark on your
Yeah.
history that you have to go change. It he now has a mountain to climb. I would say to really prove that he's going to be like the guy. Because right now he came up very short in my
Yeah.
eyes.
Well, it's the same thing. Maybe you can compare it to like LeBron's too. Like LeBron was 0-1 again in the finals before he got to Miami. Uh, But I mean, at the same time, Wemby had more talent on this Spurs team than LeBron had on that Cavs team. It's not close.
No,
LeBron got out of the East with that. Um, but I mean, it's just is Wemby going to be? In my opinion, we can talk about this later too. Is Wemby going to be the face of the league? I think yes, but he's not there yet. He's not there yet. He's got to add a couple more. He's got to add a He's got to add something like a bread and butter move, if that makes sense. He didn't have
mm-hmm.
that in the series, and that got especially when the lights are brightest, all your biggest mistakes are exposed. And Wemby's biggest thing here is like, okay, well, we know he can drive in the hoop, right? But he's not. He didn't have something like a Jalen Brunson. He didn't have something like a Karl Anthony Towns. To where like if in the biggest moments in the game, you know Brunson's going to hit a step back three or hit a step back shot and hit a mid range. Wemby didn't have that. Wemby did not have that. There's a lot of times he should have taken it to the hoop, and he's tried to be like Durant. And you're not. You can shoot that. You can shoot that good, but at the same time, you got to get to the hole. You're 7'5".
Yeah. I I think this is where this offseason he has to find a way to start playing with his back to the basket. Um, I think really playing in that like short corner, um, where you can, if you're going to double him, you have to come from his eyesight. There's no
Yeah,
way to really bring it from the side versus where you're going face down at the top of the key. Either wing can kind of dive in at you and go to poke at it, which
yeah,
happened a plethora of times when he did his spin move. Um, hated that. Hate that move completely. No offense to the guy, but when he tries to do a spin move, I mean, it's the slowest thing that's ever happened. You're not getting around anyone.
yeah.
Um,
He's just also at the same time, he just got physical. People on Twitter was just so quick to like criticize him on this aspect. Just like they wanted Wimby to play back to the basket, like in game 3 or game 4. I'm like, he's not developed that yet. And
no,
number two, he's like 30 pounds of muscle away from even doing that. He's going up against Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson, who are 10-year vets. Especially Karl Anthony Towns, he's a 10-year vet in the league, and he's getting physically abused by a much bigger athlete and a much stronger athlete, and
yeah,
somebody who has NBA training and NBA health and wellness. Like it's boys and men out there. And Wimby's 22, 23 years old.
yeah.
Maybe in 2 years he's built like a Giannis where he can take a punishment against somebody like a Karl Anthony Towns, but not yet. No, he's not built for that yet.
Mm-mm. He's not gonna. I didn't think he was gonna find it out of thin air. I think for him though, getting like having like a Dirk fadeaway when you're
Yeah,
7'5", or having some type of post jump shot that you can go to, and you can do the analytics and say that's not gonna win, but I'm gonna take you hitting those mid ranges versus you shooting a three from 4 feet behind the NBA line.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand you're tall, but like, dude, I mean, get down there and just become a problem to where you have to double, and now you have 3 point shooters all around you. I mean, you can just swing it.
If they could, if that's what San Antonio's biggest thing is this offseason, they got to figure out because if Wimby can draw attention in the paint, then and be a force down there, then it's going to open up for shooters like Castle and Harper.
Hmm.
Right, and then it's just going to be a more. It's going to be when you're looking at San Antonio next year, it's going to be a harder team to beat. Um, and somebody who could take, again, even though OKC is pretty damn good when healthy, somebody who could take OKC to 7 win 8 at full strength. Um,
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where we know what there is from Wemby. We know what Wemby is now and what he could be. But it's the greatest example of he's got of what your biggest flaws are, especially with Giannis. I mean, you look back when Giannis was playing Toronto in 2019. That closing game, he could not shoot, and look, when 2 years later, 3 years later, he could shoot in that Sun series.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where he now has to take some time and work on the things that he's kind of missing. And I think having some sort of post game is going to be big for them, especially when you're losing games by, I mean, under 10, really under 5.
Yeah.
Um, just for that time management of like him catching in the post can now take up a good, 5, 8 seconds of him just having it down there and going to work.
Right.
Um,
Another
versus
thing
you trying to
too.
get a rush shot.
Yeah, another thing too with Wimby is the Spurs have done a pretty good job of keeping his minutes within like 30 minutes. But at the same time, you can see where in this postseason he got gassed because he was not playing 45 minutes, 48 minutes, or 40 minutes or 35 minutes at all. Opposed to somebody like Brunson, where the stamina is there at 48 minutes the entire game.
Hmm.
Um, So I mean, it's harder when your guy's 7'5",
Yeah,
but it's one of those things the Spurs will have to manage next season to be like, okay, well, once we get closer to the playoffs, we got to ramp up his minutes to 35 or 40 minutes. Play him a more than half the whole game, and see and get his stamina up, or working on the back end to where
yeah.
he's gas and take. Especially when you get to the thing too, like if he's gas in the big moments, he's gonna take stupid shots. He's gonna get bad looks, make turnovers, and when a guy's not gassed, he's gonna be making more cohesive what's it called plays. So it's
Hmm.
it's a matter of stamina too with him too.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of upside there. I
Oh
think there's quite a few things to look at for himself, and I think he definitely will.
Yeah.
So it will be exciting to see how they come out next season. Um,
This is
and
this is
yeah,
us. This is us criticizing a top 5 player already, who is projected
yeah,
to be probably the best player in the entire league next year, if not
he's
already. So there's a lot of upside there, man. A lot of
a
upside
ton
there.
of upside,
A ton of
a,
upside.
a lot of positive. It's mostly just saying I think what he, it, I don't know, something that I think he definitely needs. That would make it game changing, and you want to see him live up to that potential just for the excitement of watching the game.
Yeah.
So hopefully make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Um, I think now might want to jump to the Knicks since we kind of started off on the Spurs for quite a bit. But what impressed me a lot about the Knicks is I think the whole finals and whole playoffs, their ability as a team to hang into games, um, and I mean take those shots and you just wait and wait, and then finally they kind of all come together, and finally that other team's hot streak fades and they just turn it on. It was pretty wild.
Well, they were. It was a theme the whole playoffs. They were coming back down from like 15, 10 points down and making those games pretty close. And then also, here's the biggest thing with the Knicks is they have an identity, like as a team. Like they knew who they were compared to somebody like a San Antonio or the Cavs, where like nobody. I mean, even in the late games, even early games too. Like they knew who they were, and that was the big difference in this finals too. And the big difference in this whole run is they knew who they were, and they knew that okay, if we can do here and there, if we get the Brunson, if we get the Hart, if we could get if we get Alvarado going, our bench pieces going, then we have a good shot in this game. And they were able to turn it on when they needed to the most.
Yeah, I mean they were not scared of the lights,
No,
um, and I think that's because a lot of them had gone to the playoffs and had been bounced and have been there and knew kind of what they knew what to expect to a degree. Um, Experience isn't going to make up for talent all the time, but it can definitely even the playing field. And I think for them, it significantly just gave them that last little push to make it uneven.
it also helps them having a guy like OG Anunoby too, who
Mm-hmm.
was on the 2019 Raptors team, which a big loser in this is the Raptors. I mean, like, come on, like you had if it was a thing, it's a little fun. It's what I was thinking about before we did the pod. It's a fun game to play because if Kawhi does stay on the Raptors team, it's a pretty good Raptors team for a couple of years.
Yeah,
They have
I
Kyle
think they
Lowry, OG Anunoby, Danny Green, uh,
Pascal.
Kawhi, yeah, and then Pascal Siakam. That's a good 5. That's a very good 5. And
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi chooses to leave too.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I can understand it if I'm
Yeah.
Kawhi. Like I don't really want to be in Toronto. I'd much rather be in California, living on West Coast somewhere.
Hey, he's also
But
from the West Coast too, which is fine. But like if you're thinking like, oh, hindsight 2020, you're like, wow, that was a pretty good roster they had.
yeah,
Um, and
I'm,
if they stayed a little bit longer, they really could have probably not had another championship there.
biggest if though is does Kawhi even stay healthy if he's up there?
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I mean, that's kind of also with the Clippers though. I mean, if Kawhi's healthy all the time, did they really, did they go to make a finals run in one of these years? I don't. I mean, you can't say for certain, but I think it probably could have helped.
No, especially when they had the windows of Paul George and Harden there, they had a chance.
Hmm.
Like guys like Shamit too. But I think the overall arching thing with Kawhi, I think that window's closed with the Clippers.
Oh yeah, it's done. I
I
mean,
don't see that. Like window closed whenever when Paul George left, and Paul George is not the same player he was, but it's still a pretty good player in this league, decent, but it's
you know,
still closed. It's
it's
closed.
amazing Paul George has played this long in the league. Especially considering the fact of his like leg injury in 2012 on the U.S. or whichever team he was
16.
six. I mean, that was a brutal injury. So for him to like still actually be playing is pretty impressive for the guy.
Yeah,
Like,
and people forget how good Paul George was until before his time in LA.
hmm
He was a guy who took LeBron's Heat to 7. Um,
yeah,
with the Pacers. So he was. I mean, if we talk about like guys who we thought were going to be facing the league, Paul George is in that conversation, like at one point in time. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's an NBA Hall of Famer. He was that good at basketball. He's had a great career, great runs, especially in OKC when they had Westbrook and Carmelo and Paul George. But
Yeah.
I mean, he just never could get it done. But he's still a great player in this league. Was a great player in this league.
Yeah. I'd say he's a solid kind of role player now, more than like a superstar. But if you go watch those Indiana highlights, you,
Yeah,
he's a dog.
yeah, he's a dog.
um,
Get back to the
that's
Knicks.
also yeah. Back to the Knicks. I I don't know. This is a team I just did not. And I thought they were good. I didn't think they were going to be this good. If I'm being honest.
Yeah,
Um, I I think it's interesting because you have Brunson who became, I think, a solidified star, kind of superstar class.
yeah,
But other than that, you just kind of had like almost what I would say like B tier kind of stars after that. Like you have Cat, who's he's good, and obviously solid, but like I would definitely take like a Wimby over him. I'd probably take a Chet. Um, I think there's just other centers that are out there that are kind of more like to me in that like S tier classification. So it's just kind of like a team. I guess that was the best mix for them though.
yeah,
Was that just a team of solid players?
yeah. Especially if you're Karl Anthony Towns, you're kind of like carrying a franchise for 10 years. The Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards comes in. But I mean that Timberwolves team was nowhere near as talented as this Knicks team. But I mean that's fine if you're Karl Anthony Towns, you've pretty much done the franchise carrying. You're with a Knicks team now. Where they all have great chemistry. You don't have to be the guy, but you could be a guy. But you could be a pretty good B tier A guy, as you
Mm-hmm.
saw in the finals. When he had the opportunity to, or when he was called to guard Wemby. So you can still be that guy and not have to like what's it called? Be a franchise. You are the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Um, especially in a city like New York. You're not going to be the first person they criticize whenever they lose, because the New York media is very tough on their athletes, and especially when Brunson was not getting it going in some of these playoff games, he was the
Mm-hmm.
first to be criticized, and Cat wasn't. So it's that type of thing too. It's a better fit for him. Um, but you have guys like Josh Hart too. Like Josh Hart was a pretty good player this postseason. Josh Hart is scrappy. He's fun to watch, but he's very good on defense too. But it will get you some great points on offense when you need him. So it's a testament to the Knicks too. Like I mean, for being honest, it's one of the best runs in NBA history. It really is. The fact that they've
Yeah.
only cleaned out everybody in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
yeah,
they went 13-0 to in the playoffs.
yeah, 13-0, and their offensive stats I think are somewhere near like some of the best teams that have ever played basketball. So I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time, like it's a different league than what those teams are playing as. Like some of them are like the '90s Bulls, but like it's a different.
Yeah.
It's still like an incredible feat of what they were able to accomplish. That we don't know if that will continue next year, but it's a pretty. I mean, I have a pretty good pulse that they're going to be in the mix.
I think they have to be in the mix. I don't see this team really getting broken up
Yeah,
over the off season.
yeah,
I think the year kind of after that or so, Brunson's contract, that is going to be an interesting one to kind of keep an eye out for, as he took less money kind of up front so he could go build this roster.
yeah.
And is he going to come back and now be like, I want, my max or whatever? Don't know how it's going to play out for them. Money always makes things complicated for the teams.
Yeah.
To me,
I like their window better than like a lot of other teams, regardless. Considering, I mean, especially Brunson's taking this less money the Tom Brady route, uh, of taking less money and building the team around him. But I don't know. Brunson doesn't seem like a guy who would like be like, okay, I'm taking a super max or nothing. Um, Especially after winning a championship and knowing what it takes to win a championship, I don't think he's going to be that guy and willing to like sacrifice guys like Josh Hart, his actual friends from Villanova, his college friends.
Yeah,
Like
his boys.
actually, like okay, I want $350 million, and these guys can go kick rocks in like in like Toronto or whatever. So I don't like. I don't think he's that type of player. Um, what will be interesting? They're not going to get killed like a Thunder when it comes to the second apron, because the Thunder have the thing with the Thunder. They have a lot of financial question marks in the next like 1 or 2 years. But I mean, in terms of the Knicks, I think they're in a great place right now. The East should be, like we said earlier, the East should be theirs, depending on what Boston does. But they're still. I mean, one or two got to be like either the co-favorites or near that to repeat next season.
Yeah, I would take him as a favorite. I'd have to kind of agree with you. I think on Brunson's mentality, he seems like he wants to win, and also pretty like I don't know if it's a loyal or like just kind of steady guy. From you know just seeing kind of how him do interviews and talk. So I don't think I would doubt he goes out there. I think also now you win a championship, your endorsements, you're probably going to get more money.
Yeah.
Everything kind of off the court, you're now going to get some more deals coming in. So I think to me, always in my mind, if you're one of those guys where it's like 300 million versus 250, like, dude, like, I'd rather go get a championship and leave. I'll go get some more money elsewhere. Like,
And Brunson could easily ask for 200 and get that.
mhm.
But then you get up to the $300 million mark. Okay, we're gonna have to sacrifice some players, sacrifice some team members. But I don't think he's like that type of guy. Which is completely opposite of somebody like Carmelo, who they had 10 years ago, who would have taken the 350 mil and been like, "Go kick rocks," because this is my team. Which
Yeah,
is it's crazy to watch. Because I mean, it's funny because Carmelo is a great player in this league. Um, and then I see his
well,
on Twitter like, oh, his time with the Knicks is erased because Brunson won it. Brunson did what he could, and then Jokic took his number and is now
LaMelo took his nickname.
Carmelo took his nickname. But I mean, at the same time, like kids forget like how good Carmelo. It's also like 10 year olds probably argue on Twitter, but it's like Carmelo is a very good player in this league. Like at one point in time, he was second to LeBron in terms of like being a young superstar and all that kind of stuff. And he went to the Knicks when it wasn't popular to go to a team like the Knicks too. So I don't like the Carmelo slander. I think he's always got a special place in my heart. He's got one of the best 3 point
Yeah,
celebrations, the three to the dome, and his
yeah.
bully was incredible too. His post moves were incredible.
Hmm.
But I don't like the Melo slander. But at the end of the day, um, in terms of ranking on the Knicks all time grades, Brunson's probably up there next to Ewing.
Yeah. I mean, if Brunson gets another one, then he's number one. I think by a landslide.
Yeah,
I think right now both of them are at one. Both of them led a team. Um,
yeah. It's one
but
A. It's 1A,
yeah,
1B. I think it was. I think some of the Knicks fans or basketball world got caught up in saying, "Oh, he's the greatest of all time already for the Knicks." I'm like, Ewing was a pretty damn good player in this league too, and the reason why Ewing doesn't have a ring is because Michael Jordan existed and Hakeem Olajuwon existed. So it's one of those things. Like you have to go against you have to go against the greatest player of all time and arguably the greatest center of all time. It's
well,
very hard.
that's like having LeBron in the East. You go on an 8 year streak where it's just LeBron coming
Yeah.
out. Like it's a tough time if you're over there.
Yep. And what in the
Um,
parity? It's crazy because in the parity in the with how the league is now has more parity than ever before, right? A guy like LeBron came out of the East like 8 times in a row. That's crazy to
mhm.
think about. That is insane.
Don't have that anymore. Nope.
No, it's not happening again.
No. I mean, what you had the Warriors come out probably 5 years, well, at least 4 years in a row. I thought
15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
uh,
No,
20. I don't think.
1920 was the Lakers because of COVID. Yeah,
Yeah, Lakers came out.
injuries. If I remember correctly, Warriors were heavily injured. Curry was heavily injured.
Hmm.
Came back in the bubble too. But the Lakers were overwhelmingly the better team that year. With
Yeah, I
LeBron.
don't even. I think Warriors got bounced pretty early on that year. Um,
Yeah, with no Clay either. I forgot Clay had a Achilles tear. or
Yeah,
AC.
he had a Achilles tear, and then Curry had like a hurt knee or something.
Yeah,
And so they were just not going to come back. But that's quite a run as well. Um, that's a that's the thing. That's like an actual dynasty.
right.
Those like the OKC, I don't think has won.
No.
Um, I think people try to call them one, and they're just not. Um, they're not there yet. If they come back and go to the finals the next couple of years in a row, I would put them. I'd move them up in my book.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's going to be harder to build a dynasty because the way the league is now. And does that change the description of a dynasty from 3 rings to 2? Because usually the way back in the day, it was you got to win 3 rings that be called a dynasty. San Antonio did it. The Warriors did it. The Lakers did it back in the day. But then with the way the league is now, it's like, okay, well, it's a dynasty 2 years and a couple conference finals.
I don't think it can be. I think that's like diluting the.
I'm,
That's
I'm
like
a,
diluting the Hall of Fame. Where
yeah,
like now you put up I don't know get 20,000 something points and have a long career, then you get put in the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
It's like I don't know if you should necessarily be in the Hall of Fame if you did not go out and win a championship. Personally, I think you need to have a pretty strict criteria.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of like watering down the greatness.
But that's the thing. The Basketball Hall of Fame is filled with nowadays. It's filled with players. I'm like, I don't know about that. It's like Tracy McGrady, who was like, okay, well, he was a good player in this league, but Tracy McGrady was heavily injured.
Yeah, I mean, like
So
I can't dispute T Mac's a baller, but like, is he a
yeah,
Hall of Fame player? Probably not.
no, it's
Like,
the same thing. If it had NBA, or not NBA, I'm sorry. If you had the MLB or the NFL type of Hall of Fame where it's extremely hard to get in, T Mac probably wouldn't get in. But it's the way the NBA Hall of Fame is okay. Well, this guy had great moments and great potential, so he's in the Hall of Fame. But that's not saying T Mac wasn't a great player because T Mac was awesome to watch.
yeah, it's no slight at T Mac.
Yeah, we love T Mac. We love T Mac on this pod.
T Mac's a baller. Yeah, but it's just I don't know. It's not a stricter standard.
Yeah,
Um,
with you.
that's what I think. You gotta have a solid standard that you're holding it to.
It's a good argument if you want to go there. It's a good debate if you is the now standard 2 rings or 3 rings. But me being, I guess we're being old heads now. We grew up in the time of the 2000s, 2010s is always 3 rings. Like
Mhm.
Miami is like it's hard because Miami got 2.
Yeah, Miami's on the cusp for me. I don't think they were a dynasty because you fall. You lost to the Mavericks, who maybe made the greatest championship run of all time,
Yeah,
kind of arguably. Um, and then you lost to the Spurs as well to like end it.
yeah, lost
And I
to
think
Spurs.
you had to win one of those if you really want to
Yeah,
be like a true dynasty.
yeah. They should have beat the Mavs. The Spurs one that was probably one of the best finals I've ever watched. But I mean, they should have beat that Mavs team. But Dirk Nowitzki has the greatest collection of like souls that entire run. So there was no stopping. They showed a picture of like Brunson's, LeBron's, Curry's, but then you see Dirk just like Kobe, James Harden, Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook, LeBron, Wade, Bosh. It's like
Well,
those
that
are like all Hall of Fame guys he beat and beat soundly.
Dirk
So,
is a sound Hall of Famer.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, just off that run alone, you beat Kobe's Lakers. You then beat, I believe it was a young OKC team
yeah.
with KD, Russ, Harden, everyone else on there. Um, what was the other one?
Probably
Um,
forgetting a good West team here too. Oh, I think they beat San Antonio that year.
they might have beat the Spurs as well. And then you go on to beat Miami. And I mean, that's quite a collection of names, all at, I'm pretty sure, healthy squads.
Yeah,
Not like star player is playing.
yeah.
So,
Like to me, Miami. I mean, as great as they were, because Miami did have some great moments. When what a 5 year, 4 year run. I
mhm.
don't think they're a dynasty because they had 2. Because
I agree.
that's not saying that they aren't one of the greatest teams to ever be assembled.
Oh yeah, I mean they're one of the best teams ever put together. Um, but I don't think they're like a dynasty
Yeah,
when I'm thinking of dynasties. Um, yeah, I don't think they quite fit it because they just never won that third one.
yeah,
I think something about getting the I think 3 out of 5 years. I think that's kind of the that's a run. Like that's when you're finally in that.
Like if we're being honest, I think Golden State's probably the last dynasty we see in the next 10 because the way the league is now, and especially with it's just different. It's just different. Again, it's just a different league. And that collection of superstars staying as for as long as they can. Curry, Clay, a great Draymond. But then with the second apron stuff, you just get killed. And one of those, if it was now, one of those superstars or one of those stars is going to have to get moved.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be. I guess you can go into it. An interesting off season
Yeah,
for everybody. Because one, I think I don't think either team that was in the finals is really going to mesh up their rosters. So I don't think there's a ton to talk about there. But Fox is going to be hard to move, and I don't think the Knicks are changing up their lineup um, for the most part. However, you do have Giannis and LeBron on the table, which is very interesting for a team to sign. Um, LeBron's name's getting floated around a lot because I think wherever he goes, it's probably going to be finals bound. It's kind of the finals or bust, I would imagine.
finals are bust.
Um, I don't think Lakers are the best fit for him, if I'm being honest. Um, but I know there's also he's probably considering an actual life around basketball now. I imagine this part going into his mind.
Yeah.
But you got any idea? What do you kind of think is the best fit or most likely fit?
I think most likely is going to be the Warriors. You stay in California. You get to have one last run with Clay, with Draymond and Steph.
You could have Jimmy on there too.
Jimmy too. That's a pretty good lineup already. So I mean, I don't know if that's a finals team per se, considering you got San Antonio and OKC there, but it's a pretty good team to get to the second round and be a hard out. But it's still a really good team. I guess the storybook ending is going back to Cleveland, but that means you played 3 times in Cleveland already. So I don't see him go. I don't see him going to Cleveland. I think if where the smoke there's fire, and where the smoke has been recently, it's been the Warriors.
Yeah, I think that would be I think that's the best fit for him personally. Watching them play on the Olympics team together, I think you could really do some damage. I think it it is just a great combination of who's going to stop him. And I think Curry is the best superstar that can play the 1B when he needs to,
Yeah.
and also transition into that 1A. So you saw with Kevin Durant where he can go, and I don't need to touch the ball unless I'm making a scoring move or shooting it or driving, whatever.
Yeah.
And let Kevin Durant be a ball dominant. Um, and I think LeBron can do that same thing of put him as a point guard, put Steph as a two, and get some weird matchups for the other team where now they're uncomfortable, and you're having someone chase Curry around the whole floor.
Yep.
I would really like to see it. I just don't know. I think it's going to be tough to leave the Lakers. I think it's going to be hard, especially if they offer him a ton of money.
Well, the Lakers have a decision to make. It's either LeBron at 42 years old, or you sign Austin Reeves, who wants a pretty big deal too. I think he wants a max, which I'm like, is he a max player? He's no, but is he worth $100 million? Yeah. Austin Reeves is a good player in the league, but if you're the Lakers, you're like, okay, do we want to go with Luka, right with our younger stars, Luka and Austin Reeves, and go from there, see what we can do, or do we want to give all this money to LeBron? Who's 42, is probably his last year. But if I'm LeBron personally, I choose the Warriors. Again, for the raw reasons we said. It's just you get your retirement tour with the three biggest names or 2 biggest names alongside you in the 2010s. Mm-hmm. You get to get one last shot in the at a championship of those guys.
Yeah.
And 20 years later, if you do win a championship, it's probably one of the best teams on paper with those names. Mm-hmm. But it's for all those reasons, it's going to be the Warriors. I think it's going to be the Warriors. A fun team, I guess, out there would be the Magic. It'd be fun to see LeBron with a younger group of guys. But Cleveland again. We said Cleveland already. Boston, I don't think we'll do that. I think Boston going to be more focused on Giannis, as we'll say later. We'll talk about it
Yeah,
later. But it's probably going to be the Warriors. It just seems like a match made in heaven for his time in his career, and the pieces around them, and they have the cap space to do it.
yeah. I think the other fun thing I've been seeing is them going out and trading Jimmy somehow to get Kawhi to come there, and that would be. I don't know if it's possible or not, but that'd be a crazy lineup. I'd have Kawhi, Draymond, Curry, LeBron. I mean, that would be epic. Um, but I think, let alone if your centerpiece is LeBron, Curry, and Draymond, whatever other person you put around them, I think they can bring up and make them look a lot better.
Yeah, and also Jimmy's coming off, I think, pretty bounce here and there a year, especially with his injuries. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't know what Jimmy's going to be for the future. So if there's a quiet deal in there, I'm sure it's going to be involving a lot of picks. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, it just seems like LeBron to the Warriors is kind of like, yeah, it's probably the best option for him. Uh, but if he stays in the Lakers, I'm sure he's going to be taking a pretty a substantial pay cut, so they can keep their younger guys. But I mean, at the same time, it's like one of those things. Like I think it's Luka's team now. It really is.
yeah. I think it's going to be. If I'm the Lakers, I kind of want him to leave so I can start moving on. Because
Yeah,
right now, every time you talk about the Lakers, you have to talk about LeBron. And on a farewell tour, that's just that's taking up a lot of toll every day. Of that you're constantly is this his last game here? You got media that's always crazy, and that's
yeah.
kind of a lot. Um, so I think it'd probably be better for him. I think it'd be also just more interesting to see him. I don't think the Lakers really compete, even if he stays, unless they make some other crazy trades.
They're not
Um,
moving the needle in the West right now, especially with the pieces they have. I think the Lakers probably wait until either OKC dies out or something happens with San Antonio. But I don't think OKC is. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think the Lakers are nowhere near championship contender right now. As of
yeah,
late.
that's my feeling. I agree. So um, we'll see what happens with all of that. I'm sure it'll probably play out in the next couple of weeks. I would imagine. Um,
Yeah.
I would think before I wouldn't think it would wait till the start of the season. Um, but it's gonna be interesting. I've always wanted LeBron to go to the Warriors, so I'm hoping he does. I'm
It was
majorly in the
rumored
cap.
at his peak too. Like
Hmm.
it was rumored a couple years ago, especially when he was leaving Cleveland. It was like okay, well, it was also he was leaving Cleveland. I think Durant was on the way out too. Like, do they flip LeBron? Or do they flip Durant for LeBron? And LeBron chooses to go to the Lakers. But even on the Lakers, it's been one of those things that's always been a constant thought. Like, does LeBron end up going to the Warriors in like 2023?
Yeah.
Um, but now it's like okay, well, it's kind of obvious, especially when the Lakers are wanting to go more of a younger lineup.
Hmm.
Even though
It's
LeBron
also
is too. So
yeah, yeah. I think it's also interesting. He had Curry a couple years ago saying like he wasn't ready to play with LeBron.
yeah,
Um, and now I think that probably I feel like that's changed. Um, so I'm hopeful. Um, Giannis is the other giant elephant in the room. Um, he is. I would imagine he stays in the East somewhere. I would think. Um, I think kind of what we were talking about earlier is the Celtics trading. Seems like Jalen Brown for Giannis could be a very possible kind of arrangement. Maybe throwing in the third team there to take some players or picks, whatever it is.
yeah.
Um, but that would be an interesting concept of him on the Celtics. Because then you'd have Jason Tatum surrounding him. Um, and I don't know how exactly that would play out offensively. Um, I don't know how well Jason Tatum would play like as a you know not ball dominant
Second
player.
option. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Um.
go ahead.
No,
It's
go on.
it would be bad for the league if Giannis does somehow end up on a Western Conference team. It's just too. It would be way too many stars in the West compared to the East, which is lacking a lot of stars. Um, It's between from what I've seen on Twitter and other places. Like Miami wants him too, but I don't know if Miami to win now. I don't think Miami is your best option. Um,
Mm-mm. I don't think it is. The only thing I saw from that is like a tweet about like Tyler Hero. But I don't think that's him. I don't see it as likely
yeah,
of happening. I feel like the rumor of him going to the Heat has been circulating for a long time.
yeah,
I think it's kind of just made up a little bit. I don't think it's happening. I don't see why he would go there, unless they're bringing in some other players, possibly. But I don't know how you're making that happen.
yeah.
Um, I would say Celtics are probably the most likely. Um, the West, though, I mean, you have Rockets and also again the Warriors. I'm pretty sure the Warriors were in talks to trade for him when he announced he was going to leave and then not leave. Um,
Rockets are
with
always. I'm a Rockets fan myself. Rockets are just interesting. They were a better team without Durant than they are with Durant, um, which has been the case for since his time in OKC. It's his time in on the Warriors. Um, but I mean, it's an interesting team. I don't think Giannis would go to the Rock. I think Giannis on the Rockets would be fun to watch, but from a chemistry perspective, I don't know how he meshes with KD. And
well, I think you probably have to give up KD to get him. I would imagine.
which
I
I
mean,
would
those
do.
would
I would do
I
that.
would do that.
I would
I would make that
absolutely.
trade.
Yeah, I would trade if it was playing NBA trade. What's it called? NBA trade machine over here. Like
Yeah,
Giannis for Durant and a couple players on the Rockets. I would absolutely do. I think Giannis gives us a better chance to win now than Durant, and also chemistry wise too, being a leader. But with Durant, it's like okay, well you get 25 a game, but the locker room looks like it hates each other. And when I watched the Rockets this year, they literally hated each other. It was a weird dynamic there, which on paper they should be on par with the Spurs or OKC with the Thunder. But that just wasn't the case. They were first round exit.
yeah. I think it's rough also when you had KD not even sitting on the bench with them. I thought that was not amazing look.
Yeah,
Um, or I don't even know if he was at the game. Um, I could see like if I think he had like a lower leg injury sitting in the box or something. So you're not like, but even then it's kind of like be on the court with your guys.
yeah,
So I don't know. To me, it's like I think he is a good one-on-one basketball player, maybe the best one-on-one player there ever was.
yeah,
But in a team setting, he's not my first pick of
no,
someone I want necessarily.
yeah. I would just, I mean, at this point in his career, I would take LeBron over him too. That's been clear for the last like 15 years. But
Yeah,
LeBron knows LeBron's a leader. LeBron is not going to sit in the stands of when his team's on the floor playing a playoff game. He's gonna be down there coaching or
yeah,
trying to coach. It's just it's who Durant is. It's who Durant always was. Uh, he was great on those Warriors teams because he had a great roster, like one of the all-time great rosters on his team. Um, but it's also at the same time the reason why he left OKC. He was called to be a leader, was not a leader, and went to a team where he didn't have to be the leader.
yeah,
Same with the Nets too. He was great on the Nets. Like he was a great player on the Nets too. In the Nets with Kyrie and Harden. But it came down to can KD be a leader for this team? No. And when you go to the Suns, can KD be a leader on this team, which is on the cusp of going back to the championship after after they went and lost against Giannis? Funny enough,
hmm
the answer was no there. So it's who he was, it's who he is, it's always who he was. But now the Rockets are stuck with him, and if you're a Rockets fan like myself, you're like, okay, well we had a young core second in the West the year before with this team, and we added Durant, who we thought would be a firepower thing, and we're worse.
I was gonna say is KD was like one big toe away from going to the finals though against that Giannis team,
Yeah,
and that's like a major. Does that change? Does he go to the finals and just get blundered or worked? I don't know. I don't know if he would have beat that Suns team or not. Um,
Close.
but it's an interesting time for him. Kyrie is also though one of those players that I think falls into the like could never really be a true leader type guy.
Yep.
Um, Saw him go to the Celtics, didn't work out. Nets didn't work out. Um, and then Dallas, he's kind of just been hurt now, which is
It's just
unfortunate.
it's unfortunate because I think I sent you a DM on Instagram of Kyrie's handles. I'm like, this guy's what Kyrie was in the league when he's healthy is just unbelievable. He's
Mm-hmm.
one of the best finishers of all time, if not the best finisher of all time. Um, but I mean, he's what up in his 30s now. Probably lost a step here, but I mean, at the same time, it's Kyrie Irving, and he left the Heat, and I'm sorry, he left the Cavs to be a leader on the team. Same with KD, like we said,
Mm-hmm.
and he just doesn't have the leadership quality. The same, I mean, it's crazy enough. The Cavs were out here playing golf. The 2016 Cavs were playing golf, uh, and Kyrie's not in the picture. It's Richard
Yeah,
Jefferson, Ron, J.R. Smith, and you would think Kyrie would be invited, or apparently he was invited, but didn't go. So I'm like, okay, well that's a pretty big. Like, what's the?
I,
It's yeah, you're like you hit the shot to win that championship. Like you should be
yeah,
there with you, but it's just like, okay, it's clear leadership. Clear leadership quality is not there.
yeah. I do hate that he's not there with them because like he was such a big piece of that, and you just think like I don't know, you'd want to see them all hanging out after. But whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think LeBron really determines kind of which team. I think if there's another team coming out of the West up there as a contender, it's going to be whichever one he lands on.
Yep.
And I think Giannis. I don't know how much he changes the scales in the East if he stays there. To be honest, I think Celtics could be a. I mean, it's probably the best move. You have the best roster there.
Yep.
Sub the Knicks, but even then, talent wise, you might have the same, if not better. Um, so it will be interesting to see where those two land, or if they just stay put. Not sure.
It does it tips the scales a bit. But would I take Boston to beat the Knicks in a 7 gamer? No, not right now. Not the way they're constructed. But would I take Boston to beat the Pacers with Halliburton back? Uh, Beat the Pistons, beat the Magic. Yeah, I'd absolutely take them in the series like that. But not against them. Not right now. I don't. It could be a different summer for a lot of these other teams. A lot of these teams. But if he was to make that move right now, I don't think Boston tips the scales enough to beat the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't think it does. You already have kind of two superstars there, and it didn't really work out for you then. And I don't know how it's really going to change. It's just what pieces are you actually bringing in around him? I guess like how much are you really reconstructing that roster? Um, and I don't know. I mean, that could that's something they would have to figure out if they do make it. But
Yeah.
with their current setup, I don't love the swap. Not a huge fan.
No, it's funny because it's we gone from what teams are chasing the Celtics, and now it's like what teams are chasing the Knicks.
Yeah,
So it's funny how the league works. Because the Knicks were one of those teams chasing the Celtics 2 years ago, and now it's like okay, which team could get the Knicks? And the Knicks look like the team that probably repeats the East next year, as on paper.
on
So
paper right now they're probably the favorite. If I had to
yeah,
pick one. I'd have them. I can't say I would probably have a different finals matchup. I think the only thing that would change is if you have LeBron the Warriors, I would take the Warriors.
to come out of the
But
West.
I'd take them if they have LeBron, Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy on the team still, and you just give them any solid five, just whatever center you can grab that's decent. I like that team a lot because you don't need those. You just got to win the minimum of games to get in that, like 6 seed to where you don't have to go play the play in.
Yeah.
and then you want to get them in that first round. I take them experience and talent wise. I think you've seen all those players rise up in the playoffs, and I think all of them would know this is it. This is the run, and there's something to that. I think there'd be some dogs out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll slightly disagree. They'll be a fun team to watch. It's a great retirement tour. I don't think they get past either the Spurs or the Thunder. Spurs, especially with a little bit more experience. The Thunder having the last year of that core too. So you have that type of last run type stuff. But is that team with LeBron good enough to win a 7 gamer in the first and second round? Yeah, but probably not to win the West. I wouldn't
I
take
don't
them,
know. LeBron by
especially with how
himself.
deep. Especially with how deep, because you could say the starting four is great, the starting five with whatever center, but it really, with especially in this era of the NBA, it really comes down to your bench pieces. And it's Warriors have some good pieces with
Yeah,
Pololeski and all of those other guys. But are they better than the Spurs bench pieces, or are they better than the Thunder best pieces? No.
but I think that's also down to if they go acquire anyone. The one thing
Right.
I do like is LeBron this playoff by himself. He played Thunder pretty well with minimum no help.
Yeah.
Granted they lost, but I mean, at 41, he was, drawing a lot of attention that you would not typically say from an older player. So I think he still has it for one more run. I think otherwise he would have hung it up. Um, so I think you have a very good chance. And then you have the greatest shooter of all time. Um, so you have the greatest driver and the greatest shooter. I would take their odds. Granted, I would. I mean, it's going to be an interesting playoff series if you have that of Spurs or OKC, whichever one they match up against, and probably both
Yeah.
realistically. Um, but like Timberwolves, I don't really see as being a problem. It's really just those two teams I would see as who they have to beat.
Yeah, Timberwolves are always in the mix. But outside of Anthony Edwards, nobody really scares you on that team. Um, but then the Rockets too. If the Rockets somehow get it together, they're a team that can come out. They're a team that could probably win a series or two, but they'll be the same camp as the Warriors of not being able to get past the Thunder or the Spurs.
Yeah,
But at the same time, we should be cautious of crowning the Spurs this early. Like the same thing would happen to OKC 15 years ago now with Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. Who knows if they're ever back in this position, and who knows if they stay healthy? Who knows if the chemistry issues, um, and if Wemby's injured, we just never know. But I mean, it's crazy. Who knows? It's really who knows.
yeah, it is going to be a toss up. Um, yeah, I don't. The Spurs right now, to me, you have to bring in a new coach, and you need to get. I don't know if they quite have the experience still. I think you just showed that you have almost zero IQ. Um,
I don't know
so
about bringing a new coach. I would say, I would come down to an assistant coach at that point and be like having a more experienced assistant coach or an advisor.
you
But
need some type of.
Mitch Johnson's a good coach. He's just, especially in this playoff series, is pretty much his big first series. Um, especially getting into the finals your first run. That's pretty damn good. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if I would go far as firing him. Maybe if it goes off the rails next year and there is a clear issue where they're like fifth or sixth in the West with that much
Mhm.
talent, maybe you give them the can. But after a year of almost getting to the finals, or after where you had a chance to win the finals too,
Mhm.
you were up in big in some series. That comes down to coaching. That comes down to stuff you can learn to fix in those in the off season. But I would fire him after one finals run.
Yeah, I mean it's fair. Give him a little time to ride out, see how it goes. I just think it's hard when you have that young of a roster and then a young coach on top of that um, to just make up those years.
Yeah.
So it seems like they either need to get a vet or, I kind of agree, let him ride it out for a year and see how it goes, but you need some kind of older experience coming in there. Um, But who knows? We'll
Well, here's the
see
fun.
how they go.
Well, here's a fun hypothetical. What happens if the Spurs are a team that inquires about Giannis or LeBron?
Yeah, I'd like that. I mean, I'd even like a Curry to the Spurs trade. I think that would be incredible to get any of those superstars. Um, LeBron obviously
Yeah,
brings clear advantages. Him getting Victor in a pick and roll situation. I mean, one, he could pass the ball wherever he wanted to, because he's just that good. But two, him driving downhill, who's going to stop him? And now he even has a fairly good enough jumper that you have to respect it.
yeah.
Um, Giannis is, I mean, obviously this is kind of the same things. Of now you have like you have a giants on both sides of the court.
Yeah.
So, who are you going to match up with?
It's a matchup nightmare for anybody, but I mean, it's a. I should have thought about the team earlier. I forget. If the Spurs feel like they're one veteran away from a championship, uh, would you rather go get LeBron probably for cheaper than you would Giannis and have a veteran like him on your roster next year? Or would you rather go get a Giannis who is kind of the prototype of Wemby uh, for the next couple of years?
Um,
I'd probably if I'm the Spurs, I'm being a little bit wary of. Okay, well, we have to deal with the second apron here soon. I would probably, if I was them, I would choose LeBron. And LeBron has always been a what's it called, admirer of the Spurs organization as a whole. So you already have that there.
I like LeBron as well. That was going to be. I think LeBron brings a true seasoned presence.
Yeah,
You want a guy that's gone to the finals, almost
10 times, right?
10 times,
Yeah,
um, and has pulled off some amazing accomplishments in the league, and knows how to take care of your body through the last 20 something seasons, to help these young guys kind of build up. I think Giannis is doing a lot of things, but he hasn't made it 8 times in a row out of the East.
yeah,
um, it's just not the same legacy that you'd be getting. The only thing downside with LeBron that I'll think of is all the media attention you're now going to bring on top of your organization, um, especially if he announces a farewell tour. Um, that's going to be a lot for this young team that just got hammered by the spotlight in New York. Um, does that really help them? I don't know.
yeah.
I think definitely like on the court wise, it would clearly help them, but kind of the X factors is what I'd be thinking of.
Yeah, and LeBron says he doesn't want a retirement tour, but I'm like, we all know LeBron's full of crap. He's one of those players who probably deserves a retirement tour. Second greatest player of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, when Wade had his, it was like, okay, well, Wade is probably he's top 20 maybe, but like it's
Top
okay,
top five shooting guard all time.
well, probably shooting guard all time, but probably top 20 player of all time. Um,
Yeah,
Somewhere around that, but it's LeBron. LeBron's greatest player of all time. Probably deserves a retirement tour. But I mean, on the court, it helps the Spurs tremendously because if you put LeBron in the situations where Fox had this, where Fox was this past finals, um, they probably never blow the leads because
no.
LeBron's a veteran guy in that huddle to be like, hey, we got to do this, and this. Hey, coach them up while in the huddle, so
Well, not only
it adds like a second coach to that team.
yeah, and he's gonna probably get the ball in that situation of
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go stand, right across half court. I'm gonna point exactly where you need to move to and who needs to go where. And I'm gonna
yeah,
dribble this, ball down to about 6 seconds, and we're gonna go. Like,
yep.
um, versus a Fox who just will do a step back three with, 17 seconds on the shot clock. Way
So,
different.
so I guess that and overall arching converse end to this thing is like, okay, if LeBron wants to like have a true retirement tour, it's probably the Warriors. Get the spotlight with them. But if he wants to win a very, very good chance of winning another championship and boosting, it's in the wrestling business. It's called what's it called I forget the actual term, but it's basically go out flat, right? You put you put. Oh, I'm sorry. You're putting over somebody in wrestling. It's that wrestling term. You go to San Antonio, be a second coach on the floor, and help Wembanyama become the next face of the league and hand the baton off and win a
Yeah,
championship.
that'd also be great to see. I gotta say,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
it wouldn't be the Warriors team that I grew up watching, but I would respect it still. Like I'd enjoy seeing them play together. I just think it'd be a very good fit.
The former
Um,
face of the league with the next face of the league. I think that's pretty. That'd be a pretty cool send off for LeBron if he could
yeah,
if he could be the guy that gets the Spurs to the uh,
championship.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be big. Um, Talking about grand things. UFC 250.
Yeah.
Amazing spectacle. Um, for anyone that does not know, is the UFC put on a live event on the White House lawn. If you missed it, I guess you just have your head in the dirt or something because it's been about everywhere. Um, but pretty incredible fights. I'm curious to hear, what did you think of like the actual them doing it? Like, did you think it was cool or like corny?
I loved it. I was like, why can't we have this more often? But I realized, oh, it's $60 million to do, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, it's a once in a lifetime event happening. But I mean, I was nervous because I'm seeing the weather stuff beforehand. I was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna be hot outside. It's gonna be rainy outside. It doesn't look like a good mix. But then the clouds go right. We go everywhere else, but actual Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being a clear as day event. Production was amazing. The way the band played all the entrance songs were pretty cool. They played "Top Job" by Fat Pat, which is a Houston classic for Derek Lewis. I'm like, we had "Top Job" being played by the Presidential Band before GTA 6. Uh, so it was really overall great event. Trump did an amazing job. Dana White did an amazing job. The UFC as a whole did an amazing job marketing this thing. Uh, Oh, it's solid. It was solid. It was solid.
Yeah, that and you get a pretty great card. Um, Obviously Justin Gaethje is the conversation of the night. Comes out there down. I think it was like 8-1 odds or something.
Yeah,
He was pretty heavy underdog, and I mean, pretty much. I mean, he ends him with, stand up, and then you finally get on the kind of ground and pound when he
yeah,
takes the top mount, and then threw that elbow into his like ribs. That hurt. I guess that's what kind of their corner finally threw it in at the end of that round.
yeah. And
Um,
it was crazy because what's it called? They called off the doctor too. The doctor said he could go no longer, but then the fighter and his brother was like he could keep fighting. So they went out against the doctor's opinion. Um, but I mean, it's the same thing. Like if he takes one more shot to the face, his orbital bone, he probably loses the eye or has a chance to lose the eye.
mhm.
So to my eyes, it was great. I mean, obviously, great fight. Uh, I would have probably called it as soon as, especially with a doctor, because at that time you're dealing with somebody's long term health.
Yeah,
But props to them for being warriors, man. That was a hell of a fight.
that was. Yeah, that punch when he threw that like right hook and it just connected, and you saw his face just like pretty much
Bleed
start
out.
gushing blood. It was pretty much that was going to be it because he got dazed, and then once he went on the ground and he got that last shot in, I think even if he comes out of the stool there, I don't think he's, you know, I think he's getting significantly beat if he gets back up.
Like overall, production was great. Everything about that. I mean, it makes you feel proud to be an American. Really,
Mm-hmm.
like seeing it, regardless of what party you're part of or what you believe. Like seeing a cage event on the White House lawn is pretty damn cool, especially with the way like the band was playing, the fighter jets flying beforehand,
Yeah,
the way the stage was set up too with the American flags, the 80,000 people out of the ellipse watching it on like a jumbotron. That was just awesome. Like
yeah.
overall, awesome. The fireworks, everything was awesome. Um, it wrapped up a great sports weekend too.
Mm-hmm. They really brought in a good end to the weekend. Um, I thought it was an amazing production. I think the best thing. I don't think a lot of I think a lot of people watch the UFC, but I think it brings in a lot of new people.
Yeah,
And I think when you put on these like spectacular events, I think especially like this, having it at an outside arena, in front of the White House obviously has its attraction, but and this, it's not stuck in like an arena. It's all like, you know, kind of covered and stuff. Having these kind of extra factors that come on top of it, like the probably the humidity there and all the other things that you normally wouldn't have, and then you add in, presidents there, and you're going to have fighter jets, and you have military personnel there. Um, and it's just a cool thing they put together, and I think it probably got a lot of people to watch.
yeah.
I would have to imagine.
Well, it gains fans tremendously too. I mean, especially with the way this was produced, and having the first UFC card in history to have a knockout or TKO in every single fight. And then next month, UFC has McGregor back too.
Hmm.
That very next, like quote unquote, pay per view or the next numbered event is McGregor back for the first time in years.
Yeah,
So back to back with this White House event to having the one of the biggest stars to ever grace the octagon, back in the octagon.
yeah, I like that. Um, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I think the sport is definitely has its brutal aspects, but it's also interesting watching these guys compete with how much trying to get into submissions or getting through to boxing. You're really playing more of a mental game than just out there like brutally smashing people.
Yeah,
And I think when you have these events, you have people actually watch the like kind of fights and see more of that aspect. So I think it's great. And it's great that you have an amazing card.
yeah,
That helps.
yeah.
Um, Now we can kind of jump into the last thing, which we had to pivot on. We were going to debate the best basketball movie, but then we just unanimously agreed Space Jam, the first one, obviously was the clear pick. Um, so instead, um, came up with the idea for greatest sports commercial. Um, and this one of the best ones I have seen recently is the KD one I sent you.
Yeah.
Um, the advertising with him and Drake over the past month or so, or whatever it is, has been pretty hilarious. Um, the one that I sent was where Drake is like in this purple box and he's releasing the like KD, I don't know, 18s or whatever,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Oh, what does the four kids in Minnesota want Ant Man shoe?" It's like that's hilarious, bro. Like that was funny.
Because
Um,
Anthony is a different brand, right? He's like Reebok or something.
he's Reebok or Adidas. One
He
of
might be
them.
Adidas, he might be the Adidas name guy now because I think Harden stopped releasing shoes.
I think he might be Adidas. I
Yeah.
want to say. Um, yeah, but I thought this and Ant Man in a commercial was just pretty funny. I thought that was pretty hilarious to throw that in. But with that, um, what is the top sports commercial that comes to your mind?
Nike Soccer has had some pretty cool ones in the past. Especially, I mean, the World Cup's happening right now, but I grew up playing
Mhm.
soccer. Um, they have a really cool one called "Write the Future." Um, it starts off as it basically goes through all these players' careers, and they become a hero in their country, right? And then it starts. It's Ronaldo, young Ronaldo's in that commercial.
Mhm.
Getting a stadium named after him, a statue, et cetera, et cetera. At the same time, he's one of those players who actually like does live up to the commercial that was made in 2010. He has everything that happened in that commercial that they projected does happen to Ronaldo in real life. So it's pretty cool. Nike football has some pretty cool ones too. There's one with a Charger player and the Rams player back in the day,
Mhm.
uh, where they hit each other at the end of the thing. It was Troy Polamalu. Troy Polamalu,
Yeah,
yeah, great one. Um, Basketball ones. I would let you take the floor with that one. I got to think about that one.
dude, I got two that I'm thinking of. One, the NFL, I think it was football. The snow day commercial.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's a great one.
that is probably a top tier of all time. I think anyone who saw that can picture that commercial right now.
Yeah.
Um, I remember seeing that and being like, "Dang, I really wish we had snow to go play football in." And it was just like 70 degrees outside in the middle of winter here, so that was super cool. um, basketball is also the NBA Christmas one where they did Jingle Bells.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a great one.
those are, I mean, those are cool because they were at least like the NBA Christmas jerseys with that. Um, I don't know, those are just fun, like fun, creative ones that like made you want to go and like play the sport.
Yeah.
The one that you mentioned about Ronaldo, I think that's much more like um, it's much cooler now looking back on it, and also like the fact that it all came true for him.
Yeah.
Like much more legacy building versus the two that I thought are more just like fun.
Like I'm trying to think of fun ones. Like again, Nike soccer every single World Cup usually comes out with like a banger commercial. Oh, Winter Stays On. That's probably my favorite soccer commercial of all time ever too. Um, they have basically every soccer star from Ronaldo, they like young Mbappe,
Mhm.
who's like 12 years old, 15 years old in the video. Um, and Kobe's in it, Iniesta's in it, um, a plethora of names. Anderson Silva's in it too. Basically, it's like okay, you grow up. The premise of the commercial is awesome too. It's like okay, when you grow up on the playground, you're like okay, I'm Eli Manning basically. One of my friends was Eli Manning. We also joke around, um, and like we played football, imagining we were them. Basically,
Mhm.
that's the premise of this commercial. Is you go to this, you're playing soccer with your friends, and you pick a player like oh I'm Ronaldo, I'm Neymar, I'm Iniesta, I'm
Yeah.
Tim Howard. It's like basically these players on a like schoolyard playground or a neighborhood playground, a neighborhood soccer field, are imagining they're these players. So it's an awesome premise, and it takes you back to when you were a kid. So great, probably my favorite commercial of all time, sports commercial,
I love
arguably.
that. I like the ones where it has anything with like a kid and then like picturing of a player, and it's like they're becoming that player.
Yeah,
I just think
that's
that's super
basically it.
fun.
That's basically it.
Um, that's, those are good. 'Cause that's what it's like when you're 10 or whatever, and you run around in the yard, and it's like I'm LeBron, or it's like you're
Kobe.
Peyton Manning or yeah, Kobe. And yeah, I think those are fun when they can get you to like imagine being that person. It's just cool.
Oh,
Um,
I hope. I don't know what the young kids are saying now. I hope they're still saying Kobe when they shoot when they shoot trash in the trash can. But
yeah,
I still say it when I'm at the gym or whatever. I'm throwing away the towel or throwing away the thing. I'm like Kobe.
yeah, I throw it out there. That's the only way it's going in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a secret trick for all the not onks anymore. Just learn something new. New ball knowledge drop.
I don't even know what you'd say. I guess I knew it for them would be Curry.
That
You
should be. I don't know. That's not the same though.
said Curry, but for us, it's like Kobe.
Yeah, it's Kobe by far. I mean,
Kobe by far. And you could sometimes get hit a little hard, step back. You're like hard.
yeah, you could do that. That was later on. That was like an update.
That was an update, but for the culture wise, it's when you're throwing something in the trash can or something like that. It's Kobe.
It is. If you had to like say, what are you going to say when you throw this in? Kobe would be the only like
Thought.
response I would expect. Yeah, like if I was on The Price is Right, there should only be one or whatever. There should only be one answer, and it's Kobe.
Yeah, he's Jeopardy too. It's like what is a popular term to throw something in the trash can? It's Kobe.
Yeah, exactly. Um, well, let's see. Any other major things you got coming up here in the next couple months?
World Cup's a big
Um,
one. We got college
yeah,
football. We could probably do a separate college football show.
yeah. I
Um,
think we'll do that closer to the start of the season.
have
Um,
Keely jump on, see what she says.
I think she's probably picking Clemson.
I wouldn't choose Clemson to win anything right now, man. I'll
We
be
might
honest.
have a bias, even though we're not good. You gotta have faith.
That's the thing. We can have faith all we want. I will reserve my thoughts on that until week 1. I don't know. I don't know how we're showing up to LSU. Um,
Yeah,
the team looks great. Off topic, but the team looks great on paper. It's just the quarterback is the biggest question this year. And is Vizina the guy? Which I think he is. I think Vizina. There's a lot of promise coming out of Vizina. Um, but then you also have this thought of what's his name, the second string quarterback, Tristan Smith. I'm
hmm
not Tristan Smith. Tate Reynolds, um, who's supposed to be this phenom as a freshman. So if it's to be a question of the next the off the not the off not just the off season, but going into the regular season, it's like, okay, well, if Vizina struggles, is Tate Reynolds going to be the guy?
yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. Ceiling is, to me, ceiling is 9 wins just initially. Floor is 6.
yeah. I think somewhere in the middle of the road. I don't think we do amazing. I don't think we bomb out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now
it will be interesting.
If we beat LSU, I'd say we're probably the ceiling's probably like 10 or 11 wins.
We'll see how week
ACC.
1 goes.
Yeah.
How that holds. Yeah, I guess that's the best thing about sports is we will constantly have new things to talk about. Um,
Yep.
so I think this was great. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well.
Always
Um,
enjoy, bro.
yeah. And so we will talk again. Talk again soon.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, man. Appreciate it.